after they lost at home 33-37 last weekend, round 16 against Toulouse, in a scenario that really fell foul because there was a lot of harsh remarks sent to Alvaretti, Raka, and also Follow Fanga. Horrible things that were sent, insults on the digital platforms, which really didn't go down very well with those players, with Christophe Orios, who opened up and said this is just not acceptable. You know, if they're criticising the rugby, that's one thing, but this was going very, very far and very derogatory. Absolutely disgusting, and there's no place for that. So Raka is the captain, not for that reason, but he's just the captain for Clermont today. And, you know, that's why they want to put in a good performance and stand up and say, you know, there's no place for any kind of that. We're just rugby players. We're human beings just trying to, you know, do our job. And that's all it comes down to.
Yeah, there's a point where fervour stops, isn't there? And that stops when it becomes not support. When you're getting at your own team, they need your support. They're not trying to lose. They're not trying to perform badly. They weren't far off last week, Clermont. You know, they made a few too many mistakes against Toulouse, conceded too many points. But gee, they came roaring back into the game. They scored a lot of. There was a lot of great action from them. Follow Fanga was the absolute standout performer. That's so. Yep. You know, for him to be receiving this sort of vitriol is crazy. Anyway, they've got a challenge tonight because they've got a lot of young players. They've got a few more injuries they've picked up since last week. A lot of young players. You mentioned Dari Carrère. You got Giron at fullback as well. Giral on the bench. Some exciting young talent, but really in a pressure situation now, Clermont.
Only moments away from kick-off for this final clash from the 17th round of the top 14, and cold temperatures here, 4 degrees, and expecting maybe a little bit of rain falling tonight, but in any case I think we can get the idea that there's a lot at stake here for both of these teams, who know that they're going to throw everything at each other because they need points, and they need points urgently. Lots of players missing because it's Six Nations still as well. France taking on Wales in Cardiff next weekend. And Alvaretti Raka runs out onto the pitch first, the captain of this Clermont team. And we will fully support Raka and Fanga and all of these players from Clermont who received all of the horrible insults, of course. Strongly fight against these horrible moments, of course, which are not acceptable. Will Skelton in the stands watching on. Christophe Orios, the man trying to lead Clermont to victory. And Ludovic Kerr is the man who will be blowing the whistle tonight, sparingly, hopefully.
Capitaine Le Jaune.
Always a full house here at Marcel de Flandre. Clermont get this game underway. La Rochelle, Clermont, and picked up by the big man Tanga. Brice Dulin, with that wonderful left peg of his, slams it into touch. Bit of a breeze here as well, which obviously will could play an important role in the way that they kick and the kicking distances, of course, which will be important. I mean, you know, every point will be treated delicately, I think, in this encounter. Fanga. Charge coming from Pierre Foissac. Ida Payetta. Nicely done at Giron. It's a good snag, that is, from Brice Dulin. And Raka picks the ball up and moves forward. It's Jonot. Came on as a sub last weekend for Clermont. Ida Payetta working well with Raka. Ball comes back. It's Giron. Wonderful pressure. There's a knock on. Clermont pick up the possession. Carvalho Dylan Leds gets the ball out, and there's
Terminé sur un avant.
Hastoy. Carvalho. Dylan Leds getting involved. There's Doolan with a kick into the corner. Oh, it's taken a bounce there at a Payet. Oh, he chucks it back. That's so sneaky, isn't it? And how about that for the clearance kick from Joris Durand? Does enough, but still a little bit of a pressure cooker situation. How about that over the head pass there from that man, Erda Payet? Extraordinary.
Well, he knew where he wanted to get the ball. He was just unable to do it by conventional methods. So he got it out there in the end, but Clermont under significant pressure. They won their first line-out, which was a good start after last week's line-out performance, but La Rochelle's really put the pressure on in defence.
Les Björk, perfectly taken. Oh, inside pass, that's beautifully done. And taking the ball through, Dylan Leds, great to see him back in this La Rochelle team. Carvalho, spillage. And it's going to be Clermont who will pick up possession. Not the ideal scenario. Orani Botia, a little bit disappointed with that. Probably not the only one either.
Well, nice little move, but the Clermont defence was up to it. The cover defence getting across and taking Leds just after he got the ball. But good timing on the move. And then just the mistake being coughed up a little bit. It's going to be really important, these little exchanges between the forwards tonight, just getting some forward momentum, allowing the rest of the team to run onto the ball. Big night for Peter Gus Soakula there at number 8 for Clermont. He needs to get the go forward going for the visitors.
Baptiste Jonot, third season playing for Clermont. Oh, it's not... what's going to happen there? I think it's Clermont, isn't it, who'll pick up the penalty on that occasion. I think they'd motored through that, and it was just a question of waiting for the referee to blow his whistle.
Yeah, it looked good, the Clermont scrum, didn't it? And I'll stop short of saying too much for fear of giving away my ignorance of that sector of the game, but the platform certainly looked stable from Clermont. And as La Rochelle twisted round and the scrum broke up, Clermont keeping control for a long time and picking up the penalty, well deserved.
Decent kick as well into enemy territory.
You see the La Rochelle players breaking their bind and trying to get off the scrum. That man there was no doubt going to go with the wheeling scrum and pick that ball up, charge down the blind side.
Yeah, Peter Soakula. Well, that wasn't straight, was it? A mistake from the from Follow Fanga. I'd be a little bit annoyed with that because they're the kind of lineouts that you've just gone and done the hard work with the scrum. You kick the ball, you know that you've got a good chance to set up a platform with the lineouts, and then you just don't get it straight. These are the simple things that just get in the way of momentum.
Well, they coughed up a few to Toulouse last week. Their first line out tonight was clean, but there are so many moving parts, you know, when there's so much analysis on this sector of the game and you're up against, you know, an opposition line out that can put 2 or 3 guys up in the air. You know, the feints and the dummies and the movement, coordinating 2 lifters and 1 guy in the air plus the throw. There are an incredible amount of moving parts.
Well, this needs to be reset, it looks like, because both front rows just not, the timing not good.
De suite, ce que je vous dis, pied droit, pareil. Allez, la distance, s'il vous plaît.
Fred Carrier there, the Clermont assistant coach working with Christophe Urios. And they got the 21-year-old Louis Penverne, under 20 world champion in South Africa last summer. 5th game playing for Clermont because they got problems with the loose head position. That's a good penalty, that is, for Clermont. They again drove right through. Slimani's getting a lot of Slimani's getting a lot of appreciation there. Could throw Steenkamp watchers on to try and understand what went wrong.
Yeah, great first scrum for Clermont against the head as well. They picked up a penalty on their own feed, and this time against the feed on that right-hand side. It'd be interesting to see if Kramer was still on that right-hand side on Slimani. Yeah, there's Kramer here, you see. And that helps as well, having a strong scrummaging flanker like that, just on the rump of Slimani.
We always look at the the tight three as the ones doing all of the work, but there's so much force coming from behind, you know, in the engine room. That's why they call it the engine room. But also the flankers, you know. And I think that, you know, when you actually break it all down, you understand just how important it is to have that unit moving forward all together.
That's why it's easy to get variation in the scrum performance, because sometimes the flankers, well, they always want to get a head start off the scrum as the ball gets cleared. So the longer they stay on, the better the scrum goes. But the more they perhaps compromise or feel like they compromise their ability to get to the ball. So game within a game again.
Peter Payeta with a smooth kick there from the tee. And it is Clermont who take the first points here at Marcel Deflon. Nice take there from Soakula, just outside the 22, to keep this in play. Baptiste Jonot started his professional career at Biarritz. Peter Payeta calmly takes it under no pressure. He's outside of his 22, decides to go for length. And the response here from Kerr Barlow. Brice Dulin hits it high. Kramer picks it up at a Payeta, the Argentinian connection there. And this time it's Antoine Hastoy, French international, who smoothly sends it into the stands.
Overall, not a bad result for Clermont. They'll be happy with that outcome. They're still in the La Rochelle half. They get to throw the ball, and provided they can get their line out sorted out, it's a good opportunity to come deep into the opposition territory. Ohio West about to go and have a bit of a warm-up. You never know when you can get on these days. It's sometimes a bit of a rude shock if you're sitting on the bench and 3 minutes in there's an injury.
Well, it happens all the time, doesn't it? Charge coming from Soakula. Clermont trying to be organised here. Yato just behind Kramer, who takes the ball forward. It looks like he's going to send one high up in the sky and have a couple of chases. Soakula being one of the players. And this is interesting. This it's going inside of the 22, and if it goes too far, the mark will be made. So I don't really know if that was the right decision. It is if it's close, but if it's gone too far, then, you know, and you haven't got the wheels to follow.
Well, they had to go to the air there, Clermont, because if you look back at the ruck, if you can even call it that, as they don't even go for touch, La Rochelle.
Peter Payeta. There's Brice Dulin, who sends another one. This time he finds touch. Going to take this quickly at Payeta. Is Duran. Duran's got such a wonderful big hammer kick that he's capable of hitting it further than anybody. Dulin responds with another one, looking for the 50-22. Yes. Oh, it's a beauty as well.
Yeah, that's a very clever kick, because he was shaping to kick it a sort of the Wipers style to the side he was running, and he's just completely hooked it round as the Clermont defenders started drifting across, and that's pinpoint.
Still got lots of great rugby in him. Brice Dulin called back up into the French team. Here's Lespiuk, nicely taken there by Lavaux. solid in the line out. Such a fine workhorse, isn't he, Thomas Lavaux? They're still going. This is much better. Lesbioc tries to keep the ball alive, and that's... Teddy Thomas just been squashed there. Carvalho gets the ball out. Here's Favre on a bit of a mission here with his trademark headband, the black one, of course. Charge coming through. They've got the advantage here. Carvalho, Bottia down the blind side, unable to make inroads. It's another good charge from Louis Bonverne. Oh, Soutani, there's the break. Tanga into the hands of Cancorier. And try number 5 for the former Clermontois this season, Geresiel Cancorier. Brilliant score, brilliant break. Tanga, Cancorier working their magic, and a fine finish.
Yeah, beautiful sleight of hand here as they look to go out the back. Instead, it's a pass, the short pass out in front. Cancorier in support, and over he goes. That's the pass there. It caught the camera out, the same as it caught the defence. They all drifted off thinking it was going to go out to those back runners, but here it is there. Boom, little pass and through the gap, punching through with his support.
Well, all the credit to Cancorier finishing off a good move with Yoann Tanga, of course, but we also got to give a lot of credit to UJ Soutani, who just made that little short pass, because when you got players of that caliber and size just moving in the right direction, if you can just, pass the parcel, then I think that you're in a very good spot. So there's the extras kicked over by Hastoy, and solid start.
Yeah, the important part of this is, as we see the final pass, if you're running in that front line of runners, you've got to run expecting the ball. Even if you think you might be a dummy runner, you've still got to be ready to take it, because this could happen. And if you've got an opportunity like this, you've got to make sure you take it, and they have, La Rochelle. Very important to have that variation, both options at your disposal.
Last time that Clermont beats La Rochelle up here is back in August 2015. It was a fine win as well, 44-6. Picked up by Sorokula. He's going to go down this blind side. Did enough, didn't he, Leds, just to slow him down, and then the extras came thrown onto the pile there by Cancorier.
Well, he also managed to deflect him slightly towards the touchline. He's a big man, Peter Gus Sorokula, but as he's gone there a little bit too close to the touchline, the second defender who's come across, was it Cancorier again, has knocked him over the touchline. Bit of a wasted opportunity for Clermont.
Lesbioc goes, that's the wonderfully flicked back down into the hands of Carvalho by Lavaux. Charge coming from Bottia. It's been made available. Piquet runs into a bit of trouble. Chiliato is a handful when it comes to defence, and Dulin kicks it straight up the middle. Joris Durand.
Long left. Good boy.
And that's just calmly kicked back.
On attend.
And Hastoy flies it into touch up towards the halfway line for La Rochelle. But it's game management, isn't it? It's how you deal with those kicks. It's how you work your magic and just clear your lines. No one's taking any risks, and you can see that they don't want to be camping out in their own half tonight.
That's right. While the rules are still as they are, I mean, people bemoan, so many kicks in a row, but you do not want to take that risk of getting caught behind the advantage line if you counter-attack without your support.
Perfectly take there by Kylian Tisserand, the 22-year-old blindside flanker. Oh, they're stopped, they're not moving. Look what Tanga's doing. Tanga's got his hands on the... Oh, they finally got it out. Oh, Jeannot just running into a bit of trouble. His name's Georges-Henri Colombe. Foysak's playing scrum half. Taken forward by Lavo.
Non, non, non. Merci.
Payet is back in position. They might be using the forwards. No, it's going to be a kick. You can see once again they'll just kick it high. Let's see if there's anybody chasing. It's going into the 22. You make your mark, and all is good. Quick tap. There we go. This is what he's so good at. Dylan, that wasn't 10 meters, I don't think. So I don't know if the referee's reacted to that. No, he's okay. Hoofed upfield, outside of the 22.
Attack, Antoine!
Antoine Hastoy, and the ball kicked out. There's a player down, and just going to get the lay of the land. You can just see that Marcos Clermont.
Antoine, super!
Well, he's a hardy individual, but he goes in pretty front on a lot of the time, gets his head stuck right in there. Well, there it is. There he's gone in for the clean out onto Cancourier.
Former, well, no, they're not former teammates because Kramer just arrived this season, but well, both very hard. But I think it was a blind clash of heads. It was purely
there's nothing malicious. No, there's nothing malicious in that. It was just, you know, Kramer putting his body on the line. It's just unfortunate that for him that he kind of led with his head.
Yeah, will he go off for protocol? No, he's.
I would have.
Yeah, I would have taken a sabbatical.
3 years.
Shouldn't laugh about that, but I mean, you know, it is quite serious, of course, you know, and we know, you know, what the current climate's like regarding head contacts, but in any case, he's staying on. Clermont going down the line. This is good for La Rochelle. Doulan, pressure cooker situation with players, and you can't do anything about that. Juan had to just get rid of it, and I think Payet might want to give that ball back to La Rochelle because it's going to be their line out.
Well, he's been very convincing, Dylan Lates. They might have to just review that and see who took that out, because Lates also touched it. I think Lates has touched that last, but hard to work out. And as I say, he was very convincing, pleading to the touch judge. Well played.
Gontan Lesbjörk. Lavo doesn't take it. Tanga does. And there it is. Let's see how well organised they are. Clermont, he's just gone straight off the back. That is brilliant stuff from the tight head prop. George-Henri Clermont, his second try this season. And the former Racing man charging over from close range. He's unstoppable. He's such a big unit, but he's also growing in stature in the way that he plays. Great run and great finish.
That's a combination of brute strength and dexterity. They won the ball clean, and as they wheeled away Clermont, the power to go over through multiple tacklers, but then also to plant the ball with control here just over the line. And not much you can do about that. Pretty hard to defend a big, skillful guy when they got such a platform. La Rochelle winning the ball well. Clermont all hands to the pump to defend what they thought was going to be a line-out maul all the way to the line, and got caught a little bit unawares as it broke away down the blind side.
Hastoy with the perfectly struck conversion, and 14 points to 3 it is.
Yeah, they love getting their tries, the front rowers. You see a lot of hookers obviously scoring off line-out drives these days, but the props still delight. It's still a rarity enough for them to delight in that and probably relive it hours into the night, if not the next few weeks.
Good offload to Leds, unable to wriggle away really and find a bit of space with in close proximity of the Yellow Army boys. Is Kalami still going? Slimani does well to bring him down. Taken forward there by Bizou, and Payet with a kick. Doulan responds with a a fine effort, clearing his lines and taking the ball into Clermont territory. At the moment, 20 minutes in, halfway through the first half, we most definitely have a clinical start to this encounter for La Rochelle. I mean, something's working for them, which is great, you know, but we're still not seeing backs scoring tries, something that we haven't seen basically all season. It's been a problem for them. They've missed lots of players. We talk about Raymond Rule. We thought that he'd come back. 8 months that he's been out, of course, and yeah, they just haven't managed to click and find, you know, the winning ingredients to get themselves over the try line. It's all about the forwards, basically, and they're missing the likes of Will Skelton still and Aldrit, of course. Teddy Thomas, maybe this is the time. Oops. Straight off for Suakula. It's going to be a line out for La Rochelle.
Well, they've got no shortage of talent, and they've got plenty of experience with the likes of Kerbalo particularly. They've got an attacking mindset when you think of players like Ihaya West. So maybe it's just a combination thing, perhaps communication, not quite up to scratch. But this might be the game where maybe they get a little bit of a buffer and feel like they can have a bit of a go and chance their arm.
Well, they also had a reshuffle with their coaching staff, of course, with Remy Tallers coming in as well to you know, try and work on the attacks. The attack and Leds once again, little kick over the top. Racker's there to cover. Where's he going to go? Teddy Thomas and Leds bring him down. They fall on the wrong side. They need to get out of there. Jono into the hands of Thibaut Lannon. Player who's come all the way through the academy at Clermont. It's been a bit of an eventful week at Clermont. They had a fire at their training facilities, of course, which you know, is not ideal in your preparation, isn't it?
Must have warmed them all up, though. You sure it wasn't? Well, I don't want to cast aspersions on it. It wasn't deliberate.
You can't even go there.
Probably do with it tonight.
There we go. And they had, you know, with all of the controversy regarding the insults, sorry, you know, it's been complicated. They've had to do, they've had to go back and forth between Michelin and Gravenche, which is where they do the video analysis, and they've got a gym there. So, I mean, you know, they've just been focusing on scrums, lineouts, and defence, basically. It's been a little bit complicated for them this week, Clermont. The line-out really didn't function last weekend against Toulouse, an area where they really needed to get back to basics. Oh, it's nearly an interception there. And it's Yato's down. There's a collision. And both players, Lavo, Yato, down on the ground. They clashed as he tried to intercept it, but the problem was that Lavo was in the way and he came over the top, as you can see from this. Well, that's a big body check, isn't it, on Lavo? And it doesn't look like he got hit hard in the ribs, because we're talking about two hard men.
Well, there's no infringement there. It's just one of those things in a contact sport with bodies going in opposite directions that can happen. We don't like to see it, and you know the laws are made and the interpretations are applied to try and minimise injuries and to try and preserve the safety of the players. But sometimes this just happens. So.
It's Ugo Roos down there, under 20, wonderful fly half, of course. These players, Wadi, Paver, Delaine, Skelton, Noel, Bosmoran and Bourgaret, all of these players still out injured. It's Jack Noel, of course, with the orange hair. Wonderful character. Great move to see him come over here to France and run out for Stade Rochelle, of course. And he's settling in quite nicely. I mean, you know, this is not the ideal season for Clermont in the top 14. We'll see what they do in Europe, of course, as they go in search of a third European title. But
looks like he settled in quite nicely tonight too. The camouflage jacket, the camouflage hair. Probably nip off at half-time for a pie. Who would have in our day? I'm not sure if they're allowed to eat those sort of things these days. But look, it is what it is. When you're not playing, it's not good to be injured, but you got to make the most of it. And playing in a foreign country, you know, having the experience, still being a part of the group and contributing as much as you can during the week, but taking the chance to enjoy the match from the stands tonight.
Yeah. Little issue with the timing, it appears. You can see that there's a lot of attention on that man there.
Allez, on y repart de suite, monsieur.
The 21-year-old Louis Penverne from Brittany. Got tight head trouble, of course, at La Rochelle, and but they do have Sclavi coming back. He's on the bench tonight, the Argentinian, who will be coming on at one point. But of course, Vardy and Thierry Pave coming back from injury, so you're missing key components. But he's absolutely fantastic. In the 5 games that he's played, 38 out of 40 tackles. So he's only missed 2. They're off the back once again, and there's Tanga doing really well. Brice Dulin gets snagged. Carvalho sees the gap, he's off. And just brought down there by the big number 8, Soakula. Hastoy. Charge coming in from Colombe. Little change of direction, Carvalho. Piquet, he nearly lost the ball. Did well to keep hold of it. Hastoy once again. Leds gets hit very hard by Soakula. Cancorier. There's a lot of space behind that defensive line if ever there's a little chip over the chop or something like that. But let's see where they go with this. There's the chip. It's over the top in the corner. And we'll go out. It's going to be a defensive line out for Clermont. But the idea was good, but I thought maybe more central.
Yeah, you called it, Robbie. It was just the execution, probably the decision, as you say, to go a little bit too wide. But yeah, I guess La Rochelle loath to kick the ball away when they're getting some go forward, and they've scored 2 tries. They want to capitalise. Beautiful. If you saw the few seconds leading up to that little run from Tawera Kerbala, you'll see the intelligence and the experience coming through. He was keeping an eye on where the gap was, but he just shuffled his head to the left-hand side. The defenders sort of took off thinking he was going to pass it out there, and away he went to the opposite side. So always halfbacks keep an eye out for opportunities. They're going to go back and maybe look at this tackle from Soakura, are they?
Yeah, it's, there's contact on Dylan Leds' head. I think he was. There might be a mitigation there with him just coming down a little bit as he's with the foot position was changing, but still Soakura is on the referee's radar for this one.
Je souhaite revoir l'action et le plaquage du joueur jaune sur le noir.
Well, he has dipped, I think. Look, Peter Soakula has got low and Lates has got down into it. And I hope they show this in the full speed to show how little time Soakula had to adjust even further his body height. It seemed to be going pretty low.
See, that's
Lates' legs are completely into a squat position.
Totally agree. I honestly, if they...
Avec un arrêt sur image.
Trouble is, the angle's not a good one. I think the one from the other side, you basically see that there is contact afterwards with the head, but the first contact is not there.
You're right, it's shoulder to shoulder.
Shoulder to shoulder, it really is, right?
But what they're going to see is shoulder connecting head eventually, and I think that's going to colour their entire decision.
That's going to lead us to a yellow card, and you know, I think we just did carton jaune, so... I think mitigation involved, you know, I'm glad it's not red anyway, but still, this is a big blow.
Moi, je suis d'accord de prendre le facteur atténuant avec la baisse, donc carton jaune.
So, player coming down.
Yeah, I disagree. I think the problem with this is they're going to come back and say, no, it's not a red. So, you know, we've been lenient and understanding. I don't think this passes the threshold for a yellow. Maybe even not a penalty.
Si, exactement, c'est ce que je vais vous expliquer.
If you extend this further and you say, well, the ball carrier, what happens if he suddenly drops his head, goes straight into the tackler, and the tackler can't do anything?
Yeah, he's just, you know, it's the mitigating factor is that we saw Dylan Leds just drop down.
But if that's a mitigating factor, why is it not a mitigating factor entirely for the whole situation, the whole result? It's not an offence.
Yeah, it's, you know, because it's all about head contact.
If you trip over carrying the ball and you slide on the ground into someone's shin with your head, is that the tackler's fault? Like, that's the absurd extension of this interpretation.
Big blow for Christophe Orios, and he knows that now 14-3 down, and they'll play the next 10 minutes without Peter Soakula. They have to cover in a big way. Laspiak with the line out. Taken well by Piquet. Here's the driving maul. Big boys heading in the right direction. Into the hands of Cancorier, they got the advantage. And he's trying to go home alone. Carballo. And the collapsing of the maul from Clermont, hence the reason why there's a penalty advantage here for La Rochelle. Tanga, Suteni doesn't take it. Hastoy chucks it out wide. Brice Dulad, there's a one-on-one situation. Can Teddy Thomas get himself in? Oh, that's a beautiful pass. Finally, Jules Favre offers the La Rochelle backs a try. And do you know what? That's his first try this season. And it comes at a good time. Teddy Thomas, beautiful inside pass. He used himself as a decoy. They all went towards him. Good running from Favre and a good finish. Try number 3, bonus provisional.
Yeah, beautiful play at the end here from Teddy Thomas to create this, and this was premeditated. He knew he was going to have some support. He goes out, then in, then out again, gets his arm free, rolls it inside, and Favre was right there in the good position, but that was premeditated from Teddy Thomas to have that ball available.
Yeah, wonderful skip and twist and turn there from Teddy Thomas just to get rid of the fullback Joris Giron. And that basically gave them that extra bit of space and it enabled him to just look up and realize who is actually around him to make that pass perfectly completed by Jules Favre. And Hastoy delivers another perfect kick from the tee.
Part of the problem here for Clermont was their cover defence were all going too deep. They were going right for the corner flag so that when Teddy Thomas cut back on the inside, he could gain a little bit more ground, a bit more impetus, and bring that support player, bring Favre into the game there. If they'd covered a little bit more shallow, Clermont, then when he first chopped back on the inside, he would have got hit, would have got put down.
Perfectly taken there by Thomas Lavaux. Carballo didn't have much space to kick that because there were 2 players coming towards him. Brice Dulad did really well. You saw he kind of like, took a little bit of the venom away from the strike. You didn't see the full movement there, but still he finds touch, and it's going to be Folo Fanga. 13th game playing for Clermont. 12th start for the former Brumbies man. Jano Irapaeta to Yato. 6 minutes before we get it. So Kula back on the pitch. Giron. That's a good strong hit there coming in. Good defense from La Rochelle. Slimani playing number 9. Fanga. Lespiok trying to get his hands on the ball. He does really well. There's a good fair contest. La Rochelle do pinch it. And playing number 9 is Penvan. Tanga takes it forward. That's a great pickup. A wonderful pickup. He's been very busy tonight, isn't he, Carballo? And Piquet doing really well as well. Just teasing the defense. That's inside the ruck. Did really well to go over there and just make sure that there was still La Rochelle's. Hastoy gets the ball out. Oh, Butterfingers. Great opportunity. There's a collision. Irapaeta trying to play basketball, or I think it was volleyball at that point, but loss and a drop. The spillage from Jules Favre. Foysac in trouble.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a collision on the ground there after La Rochelle coughed up the ball. Great run from Piquet. getting them over the advantage line. I thought that ball had actually come out. Here's a bit of a loose pass from Astoy. Ultimately went to ground, and then trying to recover the ball, there was a collision on the ground there where I think Foysak's obviously come off slightly worse. I think if I was Clermont with their lineouts, I'd stick with short lineouts even when Soakula comes back. Because they've got Patheli Yato in at lock, they don't have two lock options to go up in the air. They normally have the two locks plus one of the back rowers. But Patheli Yato is a lifter. He's not a guy that you're really going to put up in the air. So they've only got two options, which is a lot more easily defended by the La Rochelle lineout. So I think using a short line out where you've got more space to move, manipulate the defence and get up and win it more easily in the air. Pressure on that Clermont scrum though as well, Robbie.
Yeah, you put Pierre Foysak put himself on the back. Watch out for Bottia. Bottia's on a mission. Oh, wow, look at that. Well, that was massive, wasn't it? Kramer just having Bottia bounce off him. Kerbalo. George-Henri Colombe. Oh, he gives the ball away. Yato picks it up. Jono, change of direction. Needs to get rid of it. That was the right decision, I think. Oh, 50-22. No, it's not gone close to the line. And Doolan responds with a beautiful left-footed strike that takes the ball up into Clermont territory.
Robbie, I think if we knew we were going to see a clash between Bottia and Kramer at 33 minutes, you could have sold tickets for that alone.
Oh, it's massive.
It really is the irresistible force against the unmovable object. And yeah, that hurt watching that. Took off with a 10-metre run-up, and Kramer's not going to give any ground at all. Both incredibly strong men. Surely make the highlights package, you'd hope.
Oh, that's massive, isn't it? Absolutely massive. I don't even want to see it in slow-mo. Fanga, good work from Lavo. Lesbiok, good attacking platform here once again. Favre gets the ball out. Suteni, Astoy, Doolan, he's got options here. Suteni picks the ball up. Who's he got outside of him? Leds, and inside he had Tanga. Kerbalo goes again. Hastoy goes for a big kick. Teddy Tomer in the corner trying to tap the ball back. Oh, that's wonderfully works. Kankoye. Oh, Piqué just gets absolutely knocked down by Fanga. Still in possession. Kerbalo. Give it to George-Henri Colombe. Oh, it's nicely done into the hands of Lesbiok in the basket. Still moving forward, but the ball's been knocked forward, and it's going to be Clermont who will pick up the pieces. They want to clear their lines ASAP. And Baptiste Jono using that left foot of his, slams it into the stands. 1:40 before they get their 15th man back on the field.
Well, they're finding a little bit of space, La Rochelle, and as we can see, there's some attrition on the Clermont side there as they struggle to keep up with the pace of the game with only 14. I think Marcos Kramer will be considering himself lucky there, because off that line out, I think in any other context, he's going to get done for a deliberate knock-on with a yellow card. But the ball ended up moving out wide. La Rochelle found space, couldn't manage to capitalise. It was almost maybe too hasty to go to the kick back across field when it did come back. You might see it here. I don't want to get him into trouble, Marcos Kramer, but just a slight touch on there. Oh, we're not going to see it. Good. I don't like getting people in trouble.
You want to get him into trouble, especially. Anybody else you don't mind, but not him.
No. Not if there's any chance I'll ever run into him in person.
Oh, there probably is. We can organise that, Mitz. Remy Piquet doing really well. Kerbalo spins one out wide. Hastoy, Suteni just goes straight through the middle. We saw what he did with his offload earlier to Tanga. It's been picked up there, but holding the ball on the ground is illegal.
Well, I was about to say that's an invitation for Tawera Kerbalo, the gap that opened up, but it was a gap that was created by one of his players just going a little bit too far with the clean out. Within about a metre of the tackle is not too bad, but I guess the referees are pretty cynical when you see a halfback go scampering through a gap that seems to have been deliberately created.
You're looking for, some of the clues. It's like an Agatha Christie, scenario, isn't it? Christophe Arias not showing any signs of joy or happiness at the moment. That could change, of course, in the second half. We've seen it happen so many times. So look at that. There you go. Take out your man. I mean, that's actually, that could be deemed like a yellow card offence, couldn't it, really?
It happens. A lot of players do it. It's just that wasn't great execution of it. You can be a lot more subtle than that.
Jeannot just with a little chip over the top. And have they got their 15th man back on just yet? No, it's the next time the ball goes out, apparently. Carvalho. They got players out wide if they can shift it and shift the gears. Oh, it's picked up. Look at him go. George-Henri Colombe looking for try number 2. He didn't get the pass out to Teddy Thomas. And look what's happened. That is just not the right decision. Teddy Thomas out to the right-hand side. He knows it, and he's mad at himself as well. But the speed and the acceleration was extraordinary.
Well,
but keep your eyesight open. You need to have that peripheral vision.
It was almost role reversal, wasn't it? I think Astoy was the one who took the contact and rolled that ball on the inside to Colombe. Here he goes here, and he had Teddy Thomas screaming on the outside. Rush of blood to the head, though. He has scored a try tonight, and they don't get the chance very often to run in space, some of these props, so he wanted to make the most of it. But worrying signs still for Clermont. They're getting opened up pretty easily. They've got Sowakula back now, as you can see. But they've still shown a little bit of being bereft of ideas, really. Kicking the ball away, kicking it back to La Rochelle. They haven't had much of a chance to attack with the ball in hand. They haven't been in good position to either, but even their kicks haven't really gone well for them, and they haven't competed on those, and it's just been handing it back to La Rochelle to have more of a crack.
They've got to give credit to La Rochelle for clearing their lines very competently tonight. I think that, as soon as they get the ball in hand, in their own backyard, they're getting rid of it. But carries crossed over the game line, 35-9. 2 clean breaks, of course, which we saw just there from the second one from George-Henri Colombe. But otherwise, I think that we can most definitely say that they've just managed this very well. They've actually, this is the best performance I've seen from La Rochelle in quite a while, just in the way that they're managing their each and every move. And they get a penalty from the scrum as well.
Well, they're getting go forward because the cohesion isn't there in the Clermont defensive line, and it may well be thanks to their poor preparation this week. Sometimes that sort of a week can have the effect of bringing a team together. It's them against the rest of the world. Yeah. But it hasn't seemed to be like that so far for Clermont. They've been a little bit disjointed, haven't stayed connected with one another in attack. That has provided gaps and weak tackles.
Well, it helps when it's a home game. Coming to Marcel de Florme, they haven't won since 2015, makes it a little bit more complicated. Nicely taken there by Cancorier. This is moving in the right direction, turned around a little bit. Let's see if they can just sort themselves out, and if that doesn't come out, it's going to be, there's Carvalho digs for it. They got the advantage. Players just collapsing, thinking that there will be a scrum with a put in for Clermont. And Sutani trying to find a little gap in the defence. Carvalho gets it out. George-Henri Colombe. Carvalho once again. Here's Bottia meets Kramer once again. Still got the advantage. They got a penalty option, and that's been dropped. No, it's going to be a penalty. I think they'll go back and try and kick for the sticks and just to, give them a 21-point lead going into the changing rooms.
Yeah, it's a little bit of an icing on the cake, isn't it? You'd love to go and having scored a try. They're 18 points up. Maybe they will go for the juggler and try and get that across, but 3 extra points, bit of a bonus. Get in the shed and analyse and try and start again for the second half. I think the penalty was for pulling the maul down.
I don't think they're going to go for that. The way that they're moving over into that corner, I think that they're going to either go for a scrum or just kick into the corner. They're feeling confident. These are the moments you've got to take full advantage of. There we go. We got the line out. The way that it's working, that driving maul, they've scored off already with Colombe. I think that they're going to try and milk it once more.
Well, that's the question they've got to ask themselves. Do they move the ball away from where the drive would be, or do they just go for it, muscle up, flex, and go straight through the middle?
They got both options. First of all, they got to win the line out. Nicely done. That's neatly taken there by Cancorier. Lespiok at the back. Slimani told to get away. Not allowed to go anywhere near that. Surely it's going to go down. Lespiok just needs to collapse, and that's going to be a try. And La Rochelle doing the business there from the line out. Lespiok will get the credit there. He had the ball in his hands, and that's a very solid drive there from La Rochelle. They kept all of the Clermont players' tentacles away from the main man who was carrying it in the right direction.
Great control from the La Rochelle forward pack. They had to go at this twice. They got a first shunt on. Tawera Kurbalo got in the middle. He'll be claiming that for the next hours and days and weeks, having twice put his shoulder to the wheel, and over they go. They kept the control. They had one go at it. The referee was warning them, so this one really had to go forward consistently, and they managed to do that. Lespiok, the beneficiary, and that's an even sweeter icing than 3 points would have been going into half-time.
And a third try for Quentin Lespiok, with Antoine Hastoy trying to maintain his 100% kicking success rate. Not a problem, he's wonderful from the tee, and they got 28 points. After 40 minutes of play here at Marcel Deflande, the home fans are very happy. La Rochelle 28, Clermont 3. And a very solid first 40 minutes. Comprehensive, very well organised. We'll get a reaction from Joris Durand.
Ouais, c'est compliqué, ils ont mis leur jeu en
Yeah,
place.
it's complicated. They put their game plan in position.
C'est très dur de jouer
It's very
avec ça, donc
difficult to play against a team that are well organised, well drilled.
L'homme au pied d'or.
And Brice
C'est la première mi-temps parfaite pour le moment parce qu'on sent qu'il y a de l'efficacité, de l'agressivité. Donnez-nous vos impressions.
Elle est construite, on voit qu'ils essaient de nous maintenir chez nous.
It's well constructed.
Il y a de bonnes choses.
They want us to play in our half, but there's some good things that we're doing.
Parce qu'on a été vraiment constant, donc il va falloir continuer.
Yeah, we've been very consistent here. We need to continue and spill this fine form into the second half, because I think that's really important. That they actually, made them say, okay, well, it was unfair, guys. Just came upon a better team, well organised, well drilled. No, it wasn't the scenario. They literally didn't play well. Not clicking into gear, not putting those passes together, not looking dangerous. Just having, it's just an unsharpened attack, and I think that's something that's really sort of bothered Ronan O'Gara. And I know he's made structural changes, with the staff a little bit, and but still, you expect a lot more from the two-time European champions. There's a lot of rugby to be played here still. 40 minutes to go. La Rochelle lead Clermont 28 points to 3. Here we go then with Hastoy sending it up into the air. Picked up by Soakula, former Waikato Chiefs player. Fourth start for him for Clermont, his new club this season. Jono. We also got to look at the players on the bench for Clermont to see what kind of an impact they will have. And they do have experience, but they've also got players who don't have hardly any experience. The likes of Theo Giral, he's a fly half, 20 years of age, 11 minutes. Quito, 56 minutes, who's the replacement tight head prop. And then you've got Robin Cooley, 19 years of age, 119 minutes. So you've got players. Besides that, you've got Beria, Jadraziak, Desania, Bezi, Jules Plisson, of course. But still, it's going to be interesting to see how they work. Is Hastoy getting the ball out to Leds? Oh, that's a big hit there. Beautifully met. Look at that. He's been driven down to the ground there. Brice Doulan. Strong hit coming in from that man, Raka. And they've driven him halfway close back towards the 22.
Allez, lead!
Derrière. Voilà, joue neuf. Non, restez là.
Kerballo with the clearance. Oh, it's been charged down. And watch out for Kramer. Brice Doulan doesn't want to get caught up by him. Oh, a little bit of a banana kick there, just through the gap. Does enough just to clear it, but that was a little bit of a pressure situation at the back.
Here's this hit by Raka as he really identified the threat and got up quickly and got Clermont on the front foot, important early in the second half. If they are to be any chance in this game, as we see Folau Fainga'a also getting some treatment. More pressure here, this time from Kramer, and they really need to score first, I think. Just have the first say in the second half. It's always been psychologically important, but particularly when you're 25 points down, just to get yourself having the feeling you're back in the match.
Robin Coulis come on to replace Fanga. Goes over the top. Bottier tries to pick the ball up. It's in a Payeta.
It's a pretty clever pickup from Erda Pieta as well, and between his knees, under threat, under pressure.
I mean, I do respect him in a big way, the 37-year-old. He's just, he's a baller, isn't he?
Tough start, though, for Clermont. They're in the La Rochelle end and can't secure their own possession from the line-out. La Rochelle has actually chosen to retake the line-out with their throw, which is an option to them. Clearly.
You just saw Leon Darrick-Carrière, the 19-year-old. Outside centre. I don't think he's touched the ball tonight. Kerbalo. Nicely done with Hastoy. Yuntanga. And then the clearance from the back from Kerbalo. Cameraman nearly taking the high ball there.
Well, again, clean. They're not trying too much, La Rochelle. Just their exit, one phase, then back to Hastoy, put into touch. Not chance their arm, not try to continue, just to try and get points and watch the scoreboard. So it does give the opportunity for Clermont to get some impetus in the second half, if they can win their own ball.
Cooley over the top, picked up by Lespiok. La Rochelle in possession and moving forward. They like to shift it very quickly. Favre gets the ball out to Suteni. That's a good pass indeed to Hastoy. Hastoy to Dylan Leds. Gets brought down. Double hit there coming in from Fallon Giron. Bottier unable to do much with that low pass into his hands. There's Suteni. Jules Favre sees a gap. Well, that's nicely done. Does get brought down, though, by Tisserand. Just slowed down enough. Another charge this time coming from Pomverne. There's the kick. Nicely done. Oh, it's been picked up by Bruce Dulin and then into the hands of Teddy Thomas. And there's try number 5. A little bit lucky with the bounce, but finally collects. And then speeding through is Mr. TT, Teddy Thomas, to offer La Rochelle a 5th try, satisfying the fans here at Marcel Deflon on the west coast of France.
Well, a very intelligent and selfless decision from Brice Dulin. Again, Clermont not securing their own ball. After a few phases, here's a little chip kick. Dulin keeps the presence of mind to keep chasing, but as he feels Teddy Thomas, as the conversion goes through, Teddy Thomas comes steaming up. He has the pace, he has the momentum. Get him the ball, and it was a smart little pass from Brice Dulin.
Yeah, it was not good enough from Joris Duran, just to completely misses the ball when he had a chance. Probably looking at the player who's heading towards him, of course, doesn't want to just clash and hurt himself, but that should have been in his hands. Dulin continues, nice pass and a fine finish there. Try number 2 for Teddy Thomas this season. Normally he's got about 8 at this time of the year. But Hastoy producing the little chip over the top. I think that you've got to give credit to the French fly half, because you know that position quite well, Mitz, but when you can look up and you see that there's a bit of space and there's a player just a few meters out of position, it all comes down to, mathematics, doesn't it, to a certain extent. You see the space, you know that you can do it. You have to get the well-weighted, the perfectly weighted chip as well into the right spot.
Well, if it can find grass, if it can land, it can never really be a bad option, as we see Bottier come off. Holding his ribs. If he's hurt, means at least 3 others on the other side are. But it was a nice little kick, and as I say, it found grass, and then it's a little bit of a lottery after that, and things go from bad to worse for the Clermont line-out. They've just coughed up their last 2 throws, and this time, question of numbers, I think, that Monsieur Kerr has pulled them up on. The momentum continues for La Rochelle. So as you said in the first half, Robbie, there was space in behind Clermont. They've obviously identified that in the second half. As we look here at the Clermont line-out, they got their first one, but then that's 2 in a row that La Rochelle pinched off them. A couple of overthrows. And it didn't help them last week, and it's not helping them tonight. That was the not straight.
Yeah, they had a myriad of line-out failures against Toulouse and conceding 37 points. Carballo gets the ball going once again, inside pass. That's a forward pass there from Hastoy, and taken by Leds just a little bit ahead of him. There's a little bit of hesitation. The moment that you hesitate, he thought that he was going to go out wide, and then you see Leds coming in from the inside, and it's just a little bit too late.
The problem for them there is we can't see who that Clermont player is, but he looks in some pain, unfortunately. The problem there for Hastoy was he was going laterally. He wasn't going forward at all. Dylan Lates coming off the wing is trying to obviously punch forward into a gap. Now, if the option's on, great. But Hastoy was unable to really take the ball forward. And there's that last pass, which was right in front of the referee. They were never going to get away with that, even despite the first incredulous look from Hastoy. But yeah, that was pretty obvious. Like I say, it was just a matter of him not being able to take the ball forward enough, as really ringing the changes here, Clermont.
Yeah, no, well, there's a change at 9 and 10, of course, with Jeannot de Payette going off. We've got Plisson and Bézi coming on. And that was the chip. See, that for me, Giron should have had that. You've got to put your body down there, because offensive players who are coming in, they can't afford to go knee into the player on the ground, so they're going to try and skip out of it. So you actually sort of, just got to say, right, I'm going to go for this, and you know that sort of, that there's a 99% chance that you're going to avoid, bad contact.
Yeah, you're right. I guess as the defensive team coming forward to get the ball, you'll accord a little bit of the advantage by the referee. At the same time, it's a split-second decision, and if you're not quite sure if you're closer to the ball and you don't really have trust in the opposition players to pick their boots up and not collide into you, there's always going to be that in the back of your mind.
Well, Foysac goes off. He's hurt himself in that on the shoulder there, as you can see, which doesn't look very good. Thio Giral comes on, the 20-year-old, 5th season playing for Clermont, but only through the Espoirs. He's played 11 minutes, and he's played no top 14 action at all. So you can understand that this is such an important game for him.
Not much of a welcome present either. They're going backwards. They're down by 32 points. Here you go, son. Have a go.
Yeah. And Bézi on for Jeannot, as you can see, with Plisson as well.
I guess the only thing in his favour is really it can't get any worse. So maybe have a bit of a chance your arm, not do stuff that's too silly, but really there aren't high expectations. He's not like he's coming in and can lose the match for them. They're already down 30-odd points. So, but they've been on the back foot for most of the night. Clermont, that's never fun for a fly half.
But I wonder if they put Plisson at 10 because he's a natural fly half rather than Giral, or they put Giral just in the outside position where Pierre Foysac is. We'll get to see in a second. Bézi trying to get his hands on this. It's been wheeled. He does get his hands on it. And there's Soakula. Joel Plisson's playing at 10, as you can see, because he's closing in. And then Giral just outside of him. Picked up by Derek Carrier. And Clermont finally getting a bit of possession. We haven't seen much of this in the first 48 minutes of this encounter. Bézi, bit of support from Yato. It goes high. Who's chasing it? Bit of contact with Brice Dulin and Giron, nothing illegal, it's all good. Carballo gets the ball out. La Rochelle, that's nicely done with Hastoy, cross kick. It's not to any of his players, it's into the hands of Raka. Souteni unable to get anywhere near that. He really didn't he didn't execute that very well, did he? Kramer. More momentum. Clermont love to get themselves points on the scoreboard. Slimani, watch out for Colombo. He gets knocked off the ball there. Good work from Yato. Gilles Plisson over the top. Raka trying to cut inside. Great tackle from Brice Dulin, responding after getting hit hard earlier on in the game. nicely picked up. It was forward though. There's a spill. It went forward, so it's going to be a scrum for La Rochelle. It was a phase of play where we just thought there's a little bit of energy here. If they just, you know, work at it patiently rather than rush it, maybe there's something that could happen, and they might find, you know, the extra man out wide.
Well, Jules Plisson, that's a beautiful pass out to Raka. There was space there. He should have actually had the ball one phase earlier. He came sweeping round Plisson. He had numbers. The defence didn't. Here's this pass here. I'm not sure if that went fully forward, but the crowd certainly believed it straight away and ended up being reasonably influential, perhaps. Wasn't controlled anyway, so, you know, you can't begrudge La Rochelle receiving possession from that when a ball just gets coughed up.
Yeah, you can see that. I think Soakula was the player who wanted to really take the pass, but Plisson just not reading each other. These are the things that happen. We got changes now for La Rochelle, and the front row, and Thomas Bergeron, who'll come on to replace Carvalho at 9. But George-Henri Colomb, good shift for him. Great to see Joel Sclavi coming back in, the Argentinian tight end. Let's have a look at this from Colomb. Bulldozer, get him out of the way, get everybody out of the way. But also that strength of just making sure that he can ground the ball with that one arm, where I'm sure that he would only just beat you if he had an arm wrestle with you, Mitz.
Well, I'd put my weight behind it. I reckon we might be matching up fairly even there. But yeah, it was a good night. You know, great for Prop to score a try, especially the work that he had to do to get there, and a beautiful run into space. Of course, on Monday they're going to be concentrating on the fact he should have passed the ball to Teddy Thomas. Perhaps coughed up a try that in another match might be crucial. As Clermont takes the quick tap, Robbie.
Is Yato into traffic. Clear out's been made. Soakula. Jules Plisson, that's a good short pass. That's really nicely done. For Derek Carrière, little kick through. Is there anybody racing onto it? Oh, that's not far off, but it's good cover play from Bergeron. You can see that Raka was chasing him down. The idea was good, but do you keep hold of the ball and wait for the cavalry, or do you go for the little chip through?
Well, he's brought some energy, Plisson, that's for sure. I wondered if with his experience he might be better at wider out and allow Giral to perhaps have an easier, certainly a physically easier role playing at standoff, but Plisson has really orchestrated things well since he came on. Variation there, just that catch and pass, the first phase, and then the little chip kick, really nice little touches.
The kick goes up, Giron chasing it. Derek Carrière tries to flick it back. That wasn't bad. That's going to be a knock-on and a scrum for La Rochelle. The idea was good. You could just see it's a little bit frustrating there. And you can see good racing up there to Giral, just to flick the ball back. He's you know, basically saying, look, you just don't know where your career is going to go. And when you get those opportunities, you've got to get in there, haven't you? And if you can make a top 14 team, you know, then you've got to be good.
Here's that second little phase and the kick. Good cover from La Rochelle as well, but it was a nice kick. 3. Look at them all bearing down on it from Clermont.
That's good cover from Bergeron, wasn't it? Thomas Bergeron was the player who was the starting number 9 against Leinster to win their first European trophy. Oh, look at that for a hit. Beautifully taken there from a Leon Derek Carrière, and there's Bergeron with a kick down into enemy territory. It's going to be a 50-22, I think, maybe. Where did he kick it from? Let's have a little look. I think it is. The linesman doesn't know, but I'm pretty sure it is.
Depends where the scrum came from, perhaps.
Well, because of the live play.
Originally, yeah. Certainly kicked it from within his own 50. They might have been able to drift onto the outside a little bit more, La Rochelle, but he's received the ball within the own 50. But I have a feeling if the phase started at a scrum that was inside the half, they're just going to give it to him.
Yeah. Here is Tolu Latu, the former Montpellier man. Nicely taken by Piquet. Let's see how well structured they are here. 7th game for La Rochelle. Tolu Latu, the former Waratahs man. He's got the ball at the back. They're still finding a way, burrowing his way, but he's hit the deck. Bergeron gets the ball out. There's the kick by Soutani. It's not bad at all. It's not far enough, in fact. Nicely taken there by Theo Giral. Didn't look flustered under pressure. Pastoy. Teddy Thomas going on one of those motoring moves. And conventional pass back is Glavi, 145 kilos of Argentinian muscle. Plisson outside of his own 22. Does really well to make, well, that's Suteni steals the ball. That's brilliant play, in fact. Now they're coming out fast. Sure, this is going to be a try. He's going all the way. Oh, Hastoy can't make the pass. He's just been blocked there. And Theo Giral getting in the way once again.
We talk about tries being fairly rare for most front rowers as well. Still pretty rare for fly halves, other than certain players like Daniel Carter. And so Hastoy, the eyes widened as he saw the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Opportunity to feed somebody else. So he may not have had the chance to get it out to Teddy Thomas. Poor old Teddy Thomas. I'm glad he's actually got one, because he's been so close with another couple. Wondering if there wasn't even a knock on here at the end, because it got planted eventually by La Rochelle. They might say that there off the back of Hastoy's hand was a knock on. Can't buy a break, can he? Probably in any other night could have had 3 tries, 4 tries.
It's true. Jules Plisson sends it upfield. You know, what are the options for Brice Dulin? Oh, he needs to watch out. He's come up really quickly, isn't he? Soakula smashing into him, and they've made the turnover ball. And Bichelli Yato's the player who manages to get it out, and the 50-22, that's not got the right angle, is it? It's still a crafty little kick if it stays on the right side of the paint. Favre not taking any risks.
Well, poor old Brice Dulin. You said he had plenty of options. One of them might have been a drop goal until he remembered they were 30 points up, and he ended up taking the worst possible option, which was having no momentum and running straight into Peter Gus Soakula, which caused an immediate turnover.
I'd rather run into him rather than Kramer, I think. Although I'm not too sure. I'll have to think about that.
There's a way to avoid them all.
Yeah, that's right.
Pass to someone else.
Yeah, that's it. Soakula. Here he is. Measuring up his options. Finally, Plisson. Lovely kick down there. It's going to be a line out for La Rochelle outside of his own half. Brice Dulin. He's got a great kicking game, Jules Plisson, and heading off to Provence at the end of the current season in the Pro D2. Former poster boy, isn't he, of Stade Francais for so many years before heading off to La Rochelle, where it didn't really work out, and now at Clermont. The possession, 64-36. Last 10 minutes, La Rochelle, a little bit less than Clermont. It's been a good patch, isn't it, this the last 10 minutes for the Yellow Army.
No points from it, though.
Drive from Yohan Tanga. That's gone out of play, but charge down could have turned into something else.
Like I said before, Plisson's brought a lot of energy. Here's the charge down, and because it's come off Clermont in the field of play and gone over, that's why it's a 22 dropout rather than a goal line. But Clermont just kicking that ball away. Yes, it's good variation. Yes, it gets them right down La Rochelle's end, but La Rochelle has exited really well from their territory tonight. They haven't really felt under pressure too much.
Strong, it's a good shift that is for Louis Ponverne, the 21-year-old. Remy Piquet replaced as well by Matthias Haddad Kaddouri replacing Ponverne. Kaddouri's played 14 minutes in the top 14, 20 years of age, another youngster getting a little bit of important game time. And Yerim Fall, 20 years of age, formerly from Massy, playing his third game with a good ball, but he's just hit the deck. He gets up gingerly. Slimani. He'll change the direction. The ball will come out. Giral. Raka. Clermont trying to find a way through. Strong defence. There's a kick and it's a cross kick. I think he thought that he was in front of the kicker, so I think he was reacting to the linesman. It didn't look like he was offside, David Darrick.
No, that's the only reason he could have stood like that is,
the
touch judge has got involved.
That's a little bit out of order, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, they should, if they're going to get penalised, they get penalised.
Look, they get criticised for, not being constructive enough or whatever, and yes, they're trying to work with the players, but I just think being influential like that, particularly if we find out that it wasn't. Yeah, you can always go back and have the TMO can have a look at whether he was offside or not. And
but what if you get pulled back by the linesman and the defensive player comes up and he makes contact with the ball? What happens then? Does the referee stop the game because the linesman got involved? I mean, you know, these are the things you've got to look at, I think, sometimes.
One thing's for sure, it won't be their fault.
Yeah, that's right, of course. Here we go. Clermont in possession. An opportunity. It looked like a good offload, but it was well met by Leds. Hastoy, here they go. Here is Leds in possession. Hits the deck, got the advantage. Sclavi, back to Hastoy. He goes to Favre. Little chip, not a great kick, was it? Picked up, and the advantage is over. Soakula. Clermont, if they can do something here, this is a good opportunity. Bezzi gets caught up there by Cancorier. Good charge from Yato. 20 minutes remaining here at Marcel de Flandre. Anybody's ball has been stolen. There it is. It's been, that's really good. Skullduggery, isn't it? And a cheeky little chip there from that man, Johan Tanga. He just thought, I'm going to kick a 50-22. I've seen it done in the video analysis on Monday morning. I'm going to try myself.
Well, he might regret that too. I mean, it's a great steal here by La Rochelle and to free the ball up. But they had numbers. And I think we'll find in the background Teddy Thomas might be pulling up lame there. Looks muscular. Hand goes straight down the back of the leg. So it's either a hamstring or maybe even a calf lower down. And that was in here. He comes off the field at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, so, he's already gone.
And that was from setting off. I mean, it might have happened if they'd kept the ball in hand as well. But, perhaps the kick not the best option.
Rabbi Slimani also making way. Georgia Barrier is going to come on. And
High West. So a cooler off as well. Good couple of runs. Gee, got a feel for Yerim Fall. I think he didn't touch the ball in the whole first half, and he's touched it twice. Got half injured and then coughed the ball up in a rib-shattering tackle.
Yeah, these are the things that happen, mates. You know that.
Poor bugger.
Kito replaces Slimani. Kito, as I mentioned, 22 years of age. The Frenchman, 56 minutes he's played. Went on loan to Aurillac for a while. It's good territory to get you ready for the top 14, Aurillac.
Let's go, Judy.
Not a place for the faint-hearted, I promise you. Penalty, and it's going to be Clermont. Kaduri penalised there.
On vient impacter le soutien ici, qui est en retard en contest.
Allez, Eugène. Allez, John, 1 minute, let's go, boys.
Jules Plisson about to send this into touch. We'll see exactly what they do from this. But Clermont would love to get themselves a try. I think, they just need to get rid of that 3 and just give them a little bit of confidence. It's not looking that good, is it, for Christophe Furios' men?
And I think from the replacements, you'll see that they've probably conceded this game. And some of the key players that they've brought off, they do not want picking up an injury. So Soakula will be important for them. He's come off.
Line-out victory once again. And Latu doing really well. Dancing around the outside goes Cancorier.
Rentrez dans les 22.
Lead!
Clermont on the attack. They'll go back into enemy territory. Here's Juran. Look at the defenders waiting for him. I mean, you know, they're just like a pack of hungry wolves, aren't they? Waiting to just go in and try and jackal the ball. Jules Plisson. An opportunity here. Kramer inside pass to Rack, outside pass to Raka. Bezzi. Yato hits the deck. Georgie Berrier. Bezzi. Good phases of play. That's not a bad little pass into the hands of Derek Carrier. Does well just off his left shoulder. Charge coming from Cooley. Oh, look at that for it. He was close, wasn't he? How did he manage to get his hands on that?
Illegally, by the looks.
Tiolu Latu.
Ouais, d'abord plaqueur dans la zone, ici on est par-dessus.
Taken forward there, Paul Jadraziak, the 30-year-old, 11th season playing for Clermont. And they stick it into the stands. They're going to go for the driving maul from the line-outs, logically.
Some nice touches in those last couple of passages of play from Clermont. Be nice for them to get some reward. They've been outclassed, at least for the 64 minutes so far.
C'est bon, c'est bon, c'est bon. 18, avancez s'il vous plaît, combien?
Cooley with the line out. Jadraziak and co make it theirs. It's nicely taken by Desania. Jadraziak takes the ball forward. Oh, that's a big flip over there. Georgie Berrier takes the ball forward, and there's a knock on there. Penalty, sorry.
23 noirs, on contourne le liste.
Sclavi. It's getting in the way of the jumper there. They're going to tap it.
Yeah, there you go. You see him straight away, Sclavi. Not for a minute coming through the middle of that maul. As we follow Teddy Tomar just pulling up there with a tightness. They're racehorses, these guys, the athletes out on the flanks, right out on the wide wings. So they know straight away when there's something not quite right.
Cooley with the line out. Got a touch to it. Ployer comes on for Cancorier. Brilliant performance. And shift there from Cancorier. Try as well thrown into the mix. And Bezzi goes digging for it. Some of the big boys getting the ball. This is Yacho. Strong tackling from Kaduri. Bezzi gets it again. Kramer looks for it. Takes it quite low. Meets his match. Latu trying to get his hands on that. More strong hits coming in, but it's another penalty. They are in trouble here, La Rochelle, I think, because that's...
Le contest, il n'y a pas de souci. Le contest, il n'y a pas de souci. Juste le plaqueur au départ. Plaqueur qui a une situation au tien. Capitaine.
Not the first time he's been spotted by the referee, is it?
Now, well, the actions of Monsieur Kerr looked like he was about to go to the pocket, and I think next time he will, and I think this is the warning.
J'ai deux fois successives en zone de marque, et c'est la quatrième en 5 minutes, ok? Un peu la discipline, s'il vous plaît.
Fourth in 5 minutes.
Probably lucky they haven't got a card already for that.
Yeah.
Maybe the only way that Clermont gets across the line actually tonight, because, you know, they've been enterprising at times, but it's been tough work.
Oh, spilling the ball in contact, Pacelli Yacho.
Avantage en avant.
And they want to try and get rid of this.
Avantage
West.
en avant.
Oof.
Sends it down right towards the halfway. That's a great kick. Clearance kick was sumptuous there from the New Zealander.
Yeah, not a lot going right for Clermont tonight, and a really good clearance. As soon as he hit that, the crowd, you could hear them wooing. Got a good angle too, so carves off 45 metres, 50 metres almost when he was behind the goal line.
They've lost 7 of their 15 lineouts, Clermont.
Il n'y a pas d'avantage, lancez pas droit.
Well, then there's been some good variation though, Robbie. You know, they've had 3 overthrows, I think 3 stolen ball, and one not straight.
Stop it.
So they've You're showing some diversity.
A little bit of a mix and match, isn't it?
Ok, lancez pas droit. Mêlée.
Here we go, back to the scrum. 12 minutes remaining.
But 7-0 at this stage in the half for La Rochelle. I'm sure they'd like to come off thinking they've been a little bit more dominant on the scoreboard in the second half. Fantastic first half for them, of course, but it is always nice to not have it so lopsided in terms of points, to feel like you've been equally dominant in both halves.
La Rochelle at home to Stade Francais next Saturday. Penalty for La Rochelle. So they'll take a lot from this, but Stade Francais top team at the moment, so they're going to try and win back-to-back matches in their own backyard. Looks like they're not going to fall from grace after leading 32 points. Look at the territory, 56-44 the last 10 minutes. Clermont with 2/3.
Well, this just might help La Rochelle get a bit of composure back after the energy that Clermont has had in the last 15-20 minutes. The injection of fresh legs from the bench. They've had a little more of the, I guess, the upper hand, certainly in terms of territory. So it wouldn't surprise if La Rochelle, if they jag a try here, that they finish off with another one. If they can win their ball.
Yeah, the youngsters all trying to get their hands on that, of course. You saw Thomas Ployer, Jeku, in their early 20s, both of them. Matthias Haddad, 5th season for La Rochelle. Oh, that's beautifully taken there from Brice Toulin. I mean, he's just a joy. Sclavi, look at him, weaving between defenders like a centre. Ball goes back, Suteni. Oh, it's just an awful pass, isn't it, from the Samoan centre? Don't know what he's thinking there. That looked like it should have really. He was in two minds of going out wide, or.
Well, to be honest, you can see what he was trying to do there. He knew it wasn't on just to keep shoveling it across, as we see Clermont finally getting one back against the throw. But it wasn't on for him to give this wider pass, as we see the run from Sclavi as well. Loving it out there, the big fella. But Suteni just waiting for someone to come off his shoulder, and he had a support runner there who just wasn't assertive enough to be right up where he perhaps should have been. So just a lack of connection there between the, I don't want to fully blame either player. Well, that's just that lack of connection.
That makes a change. You've been blaming absolutely everybody tonight.
That's a fly half's natural sort of instinct.
Is that what you're meant to do?
Blame everyone else, yeah. He will be.
You got to dig for that, but that's a penalty for La Rochelle. Again, the scrums have they've been scrambling. It's been a bit messy, isn't it, for Clermont as well?
Here
the youngsters, that's a victory for the youngsters. Look at these guys. I mean, their average age is probably about 16. I
think it's
more than that.
I think it's try time here if they can win their own ball and get Latu and Sclavi putting their heads down and driving well. It's probably going to be Latu who scores this. Good scrum again from La Rochelle. They suffered a little bit in this part of the game at the start of the match, but really got it back together again and putting a lot of pressure on that Clermont scrum.
8.5 minutes to go. La Rochelle in the driving seat here in their own backyard. Latu. Oh, it's another botched line out. Made safe by Chuli, and then the clearance kick there from Jules Plisson. Dylan Leds, where's this going to go? He wants to run it. Oh, he gets absolutely smashed to smithereens. But this is a brilliant run. Look at this. Bergeron taking advantage. How about that? A fantastic score there. Darting down that left side. Thomas Bergeron. That is absolutely 5-star running and scoring there from the wily number 9.
Well, look at the kick here from Lates. While everybody was watching the aftermath of that huge hit, the bounce went the way of Thomas Bergeron, and over he goes, and that might just open it up for the end of this game for La Rochelle. We'll soon see whether this was legal. Well, I think it's absolutely fine, but he certainly felt it, Dylan Leitz. Petheliato, you do not want to get that at 100%, and he's really lined him up there. Boom.
Well, that's a fantastic score. It really is for Bergeron, and he'll take a lot from that because, well, he doesn't score very often. He's not the number 9 that you'll see. First try this season, in fact, for Thomas Bergeron. It's his 10th match that he's playing in, just to give you an idea of the competition at 9-10 and beyond. Hastoy to make it 42-3. Well, he's been sensational, isn't he, from the kicking. The whiz kid doing the business down that left flank. 6 tries. Well, that's a hit that he won't forget. He'll get a lot of credit for that. I think that was a very fine hit, but it doesn't really affect the scoreline in any way. 42 points to 3. Clermont getting demolished out here tonight. Piquet replaces Lavo. Oh, that's not a bad pass. That's, well, it's not a bad pass, but... Crikey, where is this going? A bit messy, just over 5 minutes to go. They're both squinty-eyed, aren't they? Just saying, what are we seeing out here tonight? This is not exactly like sort of, you know, the champagne rugby that we would love to see.
I think this is where you bring out the term philosophical. The coach is looking fairly philosophical there. It's a neutral term. They're not giving much away, but they'll be very, very disappointed, of course.
Derek Carrier flying into black shirts. It went backwards. Barrier trying to burrow. Bezzy trying to buy time and get his players in position. It looks predictable, doesn't it? Bezzy back to Plisson. No, it goes to Jadraziak.
Well,
is that Latu? No, it isn't. It's one of the youngsters, isn't it? I think is that Thomas Ployer who got himself down and did the business.
Part of the problem for Clermont tonight is they've been unable to generate any pace with the ball at the breakdown. And La Rochelle has been very, very judicious in terms of their use of players at the breakdown. There have been a lot of times where they haven't chased the lost cause. They've allowed Clermont to fill the breakdown with a number of players, and they've just stood off, got back in the defensive line. And as a result, Clermont has had a defensive line with more players coming up at them all the time. So no matter how hard they try, they just haven't been able to get any momentum up. And finally there, when La Rochelle does see an opportunity to make that turnover, they go in and they make it count.
Well, the youngsters getting a chance to shine. Piquet picks the ball up here. It was Alexandre Kadori who did who turned the ball over there. The young prop who's getting some important game time, adding to the 14 minutes that he had coming into this encounter. We've got 3 minutes left. Inside pass. Still going strong, Tanga. Little blind pass to Souteni from West. gain an extra few meters. The ball come back to Lesbiuk. Another blind pass. There's an opportunity here. Latu tries to sort it out. It's still alive. Chucked out wide. Now Dylan Led's on a one-on-one. Oh, Giron picks it up and he's done really well, but it's a knock-on. So it's going to be a scrum. It was not intentional, I think.
Well, it's funny because he's flapped his hand at that as a bit of a speculator. Yes, it was a forward pass. Oh, and they've argued the toss, haven't they? Bit of old school refereeing there.
There we go, yeah.
Don't argue. But I think there was a case for that being a deliberate knock-on. In the end, we'll never know, and you know what? There's no point pursuing it, which is not a bad thing.
And so, well, the linesman didn't intervene that much.
This time.
Into the 22.
That's definitely a hit at the ball. That's, I would have said. I've seen ones that are a lot more innocuous than that get given. But anyway, again, let's not push it. Don't want to get anyone in trouble, Robbie.
No, you wouldn't want to do that. Good throw from Lesbiuk. There's a lot of Clermont players who got themselves into good positions there. Bergeron. Well, there's a stray leg. Sitani drops the ball. I wonder if there was... No, nothing in that stray leg.
No, it was just an unlucky leg there, but it possibly did do enough to put off the pass. He had to sort of reset himself and throw it out.
10 knock-ons to 7. There's Kev Barlow. Great to see Dylan Led's back in the team and back on the pitch. We'd missed him. Raymond Rule will be the next one. These are the 2 players. You know, with Skelton, there are 5 players who have played all of the 5 finals that La Rochelle have played in since they, you know, put themselves up into the higher rankings of European rugby. Skelton, of course, being one of them, and Aldred, of course, being another. And the 2 South African wingers, super important to this La Rochelle setup that Ronan O'Gara's organised. Look at this. That is taken away from the back. And a little cheeky kick. There's the end. And the kick into the stands by Bruce Doolan, who with a golden boot. And that is what you call a solid performance. Appreciated by a packed-out stadium once again here at Marcel de Flandre. Ronan O'Gara will take a lot of joy from that performance. It's a lot of happiness in this stadium, and it has, that we haven't seen for such a long time. And La Rochelle taking 5 points here. And they've now got 40 points. The final score, La Rochelle 42, Clermont 3. And they move up into 7th position with that victory. Eighth position with, in fact, just below Racing. Well, mates, what do you make of that?
Well, a lot of ticks there for La Rochelle. Astoy, who we see there as well, 100% kicking record tonight. That was good, just adding the extras each time for 6 tries. That's a comprehensive victory. They did get to give a little more experience to some of the younger players as well, and they really had the ascendancy. It wasn't perfect from La Rochelle, and they'll look back and say, well, Clermont could have been a lot better than that, and that's not the kind of rugby that we'll be playing against. If we get to the playoffs, we've got to lift our level again, but certainly very good. As you say, a lot of players to come back for La Rochelle. The good thing about having an injury, if you can take any positives out of it, is it can be mentally refreshing. So as those players, the likes of Skelton, etc., come back in and add to the energy and the momentum of the group as they come towards the real business end of the season, whether it's European Cup or top 14, that'll be a real bonus for them.
It's nice to see the smiles back on the faces here at La Rochelle. UJ Sutani may want to look and sort of, try and work on his game a little bit. He's probably one of the players who just made a few mistakes that seeped into the game, but all in all, you probably got an 8 out of 10 performance there from La Rochelle. And just going on what they've actually not done over the past couple of months, you can see that, this is really going to go down very well, because they now put themselves in a great position. They've got Paris in their own up here next weekend, and then they're playing Bayonne away down on the west coast, but further down south. And it just puts them in a very good position, and I think that that's really good, because that's what they need. They need confidence, and you need confidence going into the business end of the competition, and that's exactly where they are at the moment. Clermont, there's a lot of work to do for Clermont.
Yeah, that scoreline always puts a spring in your step, and it was far from perfect, but some nice touches all the time, whether it was Colombe and the skill that he showed to get over the line, or the first try where it was